Hey everybody, welcome to Fossil Games and welcome to Civ 6. Uh, yeah, I wanted to start a run through of this game playing as China, and I thought I'd bring you guys along with me. So yeah, we're gonna get started. We're playing on Deity because that'll provide the biggest challenge by far. I've got all the expansion packs, including the Frontier Pass content, even though that's continuously being updated. So the new heroes packs are going to be out before we're done with this playthrough for sure. But I wanted to get started anyway and have a good time. Another couple of notes is that we're playing with sparse resources to create a little more competition, and um, and we're on a legendary start, but on a standard map, standard number of civilizations, all that stuff. Now, before I get started, now most of this video is probably going to be about how we get started in the game, right? Because there's so much to think about on this very first turn where you settle your city. There's so much planning. There's so much, you sort of got to think ahead, but not too far ahead. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. But first things first, I like to go into the Civilopedia and remind myself of my civilization special abilities. So China gets an extra 10% boost on its Eurekas and Inspirations, which is a little bit helpful, especially on Deity, sort of getting through the tech and civic trees. Um, Qin Shi Huang, he has the ability to, let's just say it how it is, enslave his builders, right, and force them to build, to use a charge to complete 15% of a wonder from the ancient and classical eras. Canals are also unlocked early, although in my experience that's not been overly useful, but we'll see how it goes. You never know. Um, and their special unit comes into play a little bit later. It's a ranged unit that basically just helps defend, and the Great Wall, which provides additional food. Sorry, not food, gold. Provides a defensive bonus, and later on it gives me extra culture and tourism. Um, so all of these things really, I feel like they kind of combine to give China a really unique style of play that I sort of enjoy, sort of fits my MO as a player already, which is a little bit peaceful, a little bit centered around sort of turtling up and defending yourself. And the whole idea of China is that there's a lot of pressure early on in the game to make use of all your bonuses. That means you want to be sprinting as fast as you possibly can to get to get every single wonder that you possibly can in the early stages of the game, which is quite difficult to do on Deity, but we're going to do our best here. And then the civilization is basically set up to help yourself defend this empire of wonders that you've built in the later stages of the game with your unique unit and with the Great Wall of China, and hopefully head for a culture victory, but that's flexible, and we'll see how it goes. Um, so now let's start talking about this specific uh, starting point we have here. Now I just pulled this up a few minutes ago, and I've been sitting and thinking about exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to explain to you sort of my thought process here. I can see sort of multiple ways to go here and multiple opportunities. Unfortunately, we're on the coast rather than a river. Now that uh, has a few implications. The biggest and earliest of which is just housing, right? We're not going to have the kind of housing that you'd have if we're on a river. So our growth is going to be limited, which means we're probably going to be wanting to put out settlers uh, earlier rather than later, right? To make the most, in order to make the most of our growth opportunities. Now, we could move down to this square, for example, or here, so that later on we could build an aqueduct next to this mountain. But I'm thinking that that's not really worth it, and that there are going to be ways to make up for our lack of housing. All of these sea resources are going to give us a couple of extra points of housing that we would otherwise be lacking if we didn't have a start like this. We also have, opportunities to put camps here on this deer. We're going to be able to put plantation on these olives, which is going to give us an extra housing. Um, so I think we've got enough opportunities here to maintain in the long run a growing city here along the coast. Um, in addition, if we move down here, right, we're going to be losing an extra point of production, which is just so huge in the early game. My strategy is essentially going to be pumping out builders whenever and however I have the opportunity, so that I don't miss the chance to just pump out wonders as fast as I can, right? So I'm going to want to build as much military as I need to defend myself, right, and keep myself alive. But in the meantime, pump out as many builders as I possibly can. Um, and I'm also, in terms of wonder placement, I'm seeing a lot of potential just if I place down a city exactly where I'm at, right? The biggest one is the Temple of Artemis. I'm going to be able to put that somewhere down next to these deer, right? And that's going to give me. I can already see that that's going to give me 4 amenities from happiness in the long run, right? And that'll give me the extra housing that I'm missing from the river, at least help me make up some of it. I'm glad that we started right next to stone, because that means that if I want my own religion, I'll be able to rush Stonehenge. Um, I will need to clear out this maze, but I don't think that's a horrible loss, especially considering that in the long run we're going to have lots of food from all these water tiles, right? Um, so that's going to be a great place to put Stonehenge. So what I'm actually thinking, the ideal, right? The ideal thing that we could be aiming for here is to put Stonehenge right here on this maze tile. We can have the Temple of Artemis here next to this deer, right? And it'll get all 4 of these resources it'll benefit from. And then what I would love to have is a harbor here, uh, and then build the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus right here. And that, I think that would be a huge wonder for me to have, just considering that I'm going to be pretty reliant on these water tiles to make this city uh, uh, really productive and valuable, right? Um, and then the sort of bonus from all of that is right here can go my theater square district, and it'll benefit from all 3 of those wonders, right? So that's sort of the dream that I would have, and that way we're also not using this tile on an aqueduct, when this could also be a decent place for a campus district to get us a little bit of science early on, and yeah, that'll give us some different options to use these tiles. So you know what? I'm actually going to use some map tax to sort of draw that out as um, so that we know vaguely what our plan is for the future. Let me see. I'd like to try to get Stonehenge right there. I'd like to try to get the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Where is that? Right, this is going to be +1 faith, science, and culture on all those coastal tiles, right? That's going to be pretty big. In order to do that, though, I'm going to have to put a harbor here. And I would like to put it there so I don't have to get rid of any of these sea resources. And then the Temple of Artemis can go right there. Now, another big bummer about not starting on a river early on as China is that we miss out on 2 of the earliest wonders, right? Which here, let me just show you, are the Great Bath. That's the easiest one to get to right away, right? But we don't have a river, much less floodplains anywhere in our site. If we're extremely lucky, we'll be able to plant a second city down along a river somewhere nearby that has floodplains, and we could pump out the Great Bath. On Deity, I'm kind of doubting that that's going to be possible, because the AI is really good at rushing to this wonder, but you never know, right? And then we're also missing out on the Hanging Gardens. And both of this would also give us extra housing and help this really become a powerhouse kind of city, but probably not going to be getting there. I also, early on, do not see anywhere I can place the pyramids, which I love to get as China, because it just makes my builders even more effective. Because yeah, I didn't even mention that when we were looking at when we were looking at the China overview there in the Civilopedia, that their builders get an extra building point. So they can expend one more point. They have four what you call them? I don't even know. They have four charges on them. That's what it is. They have four charges rather than three, and the pyramids would make that five, right? Which is just it makes them pretty powerful builders. Mixed with a certain governor, and you could even get that up to six, right? Um, Let me see. I also want to put down one map tack here to keep in mind. This could be a good place for a campus. And I think everything else will sort of leave open for now, and that's just sort of a general thing to keep in mind. But I think I'm going to settle right where I am to start the game out. But before I do anything else, here, let's check this out. Okay, Rodinia is our home continent. Um, I always like to go into the settler lens here to make sure one of these, you know, little squares on the outside here isn't a fresh water tile that I'm missing that might be important to know about. And we'll actually be checking this lens quite frequently as we explore, because it'll also tell us when we're about to come up to another city that we might want to know about, and when we're coming up to a river or something somewhere where we might want to settle in the future. So first things first, before you settle your settler, before you build your first city, even if you're sure where you want to build it, you send your warrior to explore first. So you get that little bit of extra view um, that could change your knowledge of something. And in this early in the game, you basically just want to move wherever you're going to uncover the most land tiles. The water isn't so important. So right here, you know, I'm only probably going to uncover four land tiles, right? If I move here. But here, I'm looking at uncovering one, two, three, well, also four. Okay. But I think this is going to give me the opportunity. No, you know what? I'm actually going to move right along the coast. Going to move right along the coast there, see what that brings up. Okay, so nothing super game changing. We can check the settler lens to make sure there's nothing important there. I don't see anything. Nothing game changing, so I'm still going to settle right where I am and and take it from there. And yeah, I think we got a pretty decent start here in terms of production um, and everything else we're looking at. Great. That tile is yet another water resource. That's really cool. Um, So let's see. Yeah, we're working that tile, which is just fine. That's not really any any better or any worse than any of the other ones. Um, Now I'm playing with all the modes, all the new modes from the uh, Frontier Pass, from the new Frontier Pass on. So that includes the ones that mix up the technology trees, the unknown technology trees. So I boosted sailing, so I can see that one right here. Um, and so I can see sort of what I need to do to get there, right? I don't know how important sailing is going to be to us right away, um, because we have these land tiles to work, and that's where all the production is. And you know, we don't really need a whole lot of food to start out with anyway, which is all we would really get of value from these water tiles, and that's just because our housing is limited, right? So we want to focus on the land tiles where we can get production and make sure that we're trying to keep up with the AI and military, and that we're pumping out builders. Um, and so I think the first thing that we're going to want to do, looking at these wonders that I want to try to get up here, I think the first thing we're going to want to do, let me see, Stonehenge. Let me just look to see what the requirements for Stonehenge are real quick. It must be adjacent to stone, so I don't even have to work that tile in order to be able to build Stonehenge here. I just need to be able to clear this farm, this maze, right? Um, which I'm pretty sure. Ooh, actually, I don't know. Might be able to do that right away. I'm not entirely sure. But I think I'm going to go ahead and go for animal husbandry to start out. That will also reveal uh, that's also has us sort of heading down the main part of the tech tree that's going to unveil the most number of techs here, so that we'll know where we're going best. And it'll also give us, show us where the horse resources are, which might help us decide where we want to settle our second city. Um, um, Pottery would give us this granary, but I think I'm just going to try to get extra housing by working these tiles around us, and it'll also give us the opportunity to work these tiles and get a little bit more out of them, get a little bit of gold from them. Um, so yeah, I think animal husbandry is the way to go for that. Um, and I know this is going to sound really risky on Deity, um, but I'm going to go with a builder right away because there are tiles that we're going to be able to work right away and improve right away. And whatever charges we have on those builders left over, those are going to be able to go towards our wonders very soon here. So we're just going to use this warrior to do a little bit of scouting to begin with. And we'll see after this first builder sort of what the situation is, and um, if we could possibly use if we're gonna need another military unit right away. Okay, so see, this is a little bit of a tricky exploration moment here because now no matter where we go for our second movement of the turn, we're not going to be revealing any new tiles. Usually in this situation, I like to look at where I'm going to have an opportunity next turn to go up on a hill, but I also don't have any squares like that. So we can go into our settler lens, see if there's anything that gives us any more information, and there's not. So what I'm thinking I'd like to do, I don't want to get too far away from my capital, but I do want to explore, right? That's sort of the point here. So I'm thinking the idea is going to be to sort of move around in this area and hopefully come around this mountain here. So I'm going to go ahead and move over here, see what we find. Okay, so I see there's a river here, right? And we could see that it's sort of, that's the beginning of the river and it flows down this way somewhere. So that's going to be a good area to check out. That might be a good space to see where our next city is going to be. Okay, so this isn't great. I wish that we had some sort of control over where our borders naturally grow, because I would love it for it to just grow down here naturally into this deer tile. But hey, it is what it is. This notification up here is because we're playing on apocalypse mode, which basically automatically puts you in the first stage of climate change from the very beginning of the game. So that sort of updates you there. All right, let's go to the next turn. There's nothing else we want to change. Nothing we want to do any different. Okay, let's see. We're gonna want to explore around this river, I think. Amazing. Okay, so we could get lucky here because there are floodplains over here. So if I am able to get out a second settler quickly enough and bring him over to this river, right, I could very well get out the Great Bath, possibly even the Hanging Gardens in my second city over here. Knowing that fact makes me wonder if I want to switch over to pottery right away rather than going for animal husbandry. Now, I don't think so, because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's because I'm going to finish this builder, right? And then if I'm lucky, right, it's going to take me 14 turns, maybe a little bit less, maybe let's say 12 turns, because this is going to expand and I'm going to have a little bit more production. It's going to take me 10 to 12 turns to build another settler, and that's how long it's going to take me to discover pottery in any case. So I think we can safely stick with animal husbandry, make sure that we get that out first. Hopefully, hey, if I'm really lucky, I'll find some way to make some money so that I can build our next military unit rather than having to buy it. This is fantastic. This is great. Couldn't hope for anything better. Okay, not only do we get to start with a secret society. We're going to look at that in a second. But we found a religious city-state, and we're the first one to find it. That's awesome because we get an envoy there, which means that we get uh, uh, one. Huh. Oh, very interesting. They've changed. Unless... No, I don't. Okay, I thought maybe I had one of my mods on that changed things, but it actually looks like this is just huh, very interesting. I did not even realize that they had made these little changes to the game um, in their updates, but it looks like we only get one faith per turn now from being the first to find a religious city state. That's all right. That's still something. Um, that's a boost there. And if we can, this might be something to consider actually. If we can become their suzerain early on, we'll be able to get relics every time we discover a natural wonder, um, which would be nice. So, what I'm actually thinking, let's go ahead and try to explore around this river a little bit. Let's see if we can find a good place to settle. Okay, we've also got some stone there. That's interesting. Um, and okay, so see, this is why we open the settler lens, because here we can see these two tiles are used up. They can't possibly be taken by Candy, right? So this has got to be another city-state or another civilization, and so it's good that we're heading in that direction to go check them out. Now we have a governor point here, and I think we're going to want to look at our options. Now we can either get on board with the Owls of Minerva Secret Society, um, which will essentially give us an extra economic slot, an economic policy slot, which is really the only benefit we're going to get from it this early on, right? Um, so I'm not super excited about that one. What I am thinking is that if we take Amani, right? Hang on with me here. Hang on, this is going to be interesting. If we take Amani, put her in Candy now, we become suzerain of that city-state now. This early in the game, we start getting diplomatic points, and we're almost guaranteed to get at least 1, 2 relics from this situation. Which I don't even think we can house more than 1 relic, yeah, but having that extra one at the very beginning of the game would be big. And I think that's probably the best way to go, even though as China, it's also, you can always argue in favor of getting Liang and getting extra build charges on your builders. I think though in this case, we're going to want to go with Amani. I think we're going to want to go with Amani, and then Liang would be sort of one of the runners up. She might be the next one to think about. Also militarily, with Candy being so close, yeah, let's definitely get Amani. Because if I have Candy as my suzerain, and on Deity this is very important. If I get attacked, Candy is close enough that even if I can't afford to take over their military, they'll still be able to help me out, I think. And that might be, the key to surviving just that much longer. Okay, so whatever city it is we want to reveal is over in this direction. But I think I'm going to cross the river here, actually, since they're blocking me right now. And that's because we can sort of unveil this whole side. Okay, this is a good sign. This geothermal fissure is a good sign that I may be coming up to the boundaries of my continent. And I know that finding a new continent is going to boost foreign trade. So that's going to be a good one to go to. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next turn. See what happens. I wonder what we're gonna find over here, actually. Oh! Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna have to get my warrior back pretty quick. But I'm glad I found them first. Awesome. Okay, so I earn one envoy there as well. And they're going to give me an extra 2 gold per turn. That's awesome. That's really going to help me. Hopefully I can afford, hopefully that'll help me afford buying a couple of units rather than having to spend time producing them. So one thing we want to look at here is maybe where we might want to put our next city over here. Yeah, it's definitely it's gonna be somewhere along this river to be sure. I don't want to go quite this far away for loyalty reasons. And I'm gonna move my warrior back here right now. I guess this would probably be the best place, right? Yeah, right? I don't want to go too far away. I possibly here. I guess that could be good, right? We'd benefit from this bananas. We'd be able to take up more of these tiles from the city-states. Let's see. Let's see what happens when we get there. But let's go ahead and put down a map tack as a maybe, because you never know. Okay, our next big thing though is going to have to be dealing with these barbarians, finding whatever camp is down here. That's definitely a little bit dangerous. Okay, we can already see that this river flooded. Good thing that doesn't affect us too much. Yeah, we're gonna want to move this way as quickly as possible. Okay. Yeah, that's a shame about growing our borders towards that crab, but it is what it is. Yeah, let's keep moving down this way. And here we're gonna get to grow this turn at least. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Oh, this isn't exactly ideal. We do not want to give him any information about where our capital is because as long as he doesn't see it, he cannot declare a surprise war on us and attack us. Okay, so we're getting air score for becoming Candy's suzerain. Hey, we discovered a natural wonder. Does that give us a relic already? Okay, we're gonna look at that in a second. Okay, great. Those are important boosts. Okay. There was Halong Bay was right next to Candy. That's what happened. Okay. And Persia is right there. So we don't actually know where their capital is, but we are going to need to be diplomatically wary of them. They are rather aggressive civ. Okay. So no, I think the discovery of Halong Bay came before I became suzerain of Candy, unfortunately. But that's just the way it is. Okay, so we boosted astrology. We're going to want to check where that is now in the tree. So that comes after mining. Okay. So this is going to be difficult. I still want to finish animal husbandry, but I'm going to want to get to astrology as fast as possible, but I also don't want to miss out on the chance to build the Great Bath if I can possibly get there. So this is going to be a delicate balancing act. I might have to think about that one sort of after this episode is over on my own. We got another river down here. Okay, So this is another opportunity uh, for good expansion. Okay, and yeah, let's go ahead and get to the end of turn 10, and then we'll call this episode quits. I think we're making a good, interesting start here. I know a lot of this episode was sort of just dealing with the very basics of getting the game started, but I think that's good. I think that's, I think you got to spend a lot of time at the beginning thinking about what your strengths are, what your goals are, and where you want to get to. Um, Okay, I know we got these barbarians that might creep up on us. I know we got Persia not too far away somewhere, but I really don't want to miss out on the potential opportunity to get the Great Bath. I also know that we got to keep up with the AI in terms of expansion playing on Deity. We got Candy to hopefully help us protect ourselves, so I think we're going to plunge right into a settler here, get that out as quickly as I can. Um, I can go ahead and farm this, boost irrigation. Let's see where that is. Okay, that one's further down the pottery line. So no one's going to be getting hanging gardens right off the bat, right? Um, and now let's move down this way. Okay, it looks like the Persians might be doing some of our dirty work for us in terms of taking out those barbarians. I'm gonna go this way. It looks like if they're on that side of the river, the barbarians probably are as well. So I want to be safer and be on this side of the river. All right, so end of turn 10. Oh, wait, no. We got to look at this. We got to look at this, see what kind of governors we want. Now, we could do the Owls of Minerva now. Let me see if Persia... Okay, they are out there also with the Owls of Minerva. So that could be a wise diplomatic choice also to go ahead and get that right away, because that'll help make them friendlier towards us and less likely to launch a surprise attack on us. And we need some breathing room right now. I also think we'll be able to benefit from that in just a couple of turns here, as soon as we finish developing Code of Laws. And there's nothing else that's like absolutely critical. Liang is not to right now. Liang is important, but we're not even working on a builder right now. So I think we're gonna go ahead and join the Owls of Minerva, and that'll hopefully help us with Persia a little bit. All right, so yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of episode 1, and I'm looking forward to digging into part 2 with you guys. So I will see you there. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe down below. You can maybe even hit the bell. I think the way it works is you get notifications if you do that. And yeah, we're gonna see how we go from here, where we want to settle our next city, and yeah, how we want to deal with Persia and these barbarians, despite not having much of a military. Playing it risky, fun but risky. All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.